been a big week for Everest. Let's revisit the last newsletter. Everest has added a lot of new platform features, as well as significant B2B functionality that consumers don't immediately see, all of which consume or require ID tokens. Simply put, organizations and users can do more with the ID token, and Everest is launching products that use a lot of ID tokens. The UI on the web wallet was updated, and it looks like we're seeing more traction. The team has said more still to come on that front, but they're still focused on B2B2C. Everest's turnkey vertical stack approach includes deal origination, custody, and requisite licenses, tokenization and primary issuance on Ethereum and/or Everchain, plus secondary trading, swapping to, from crypto, or purchase via fiat. Everest is starting to offer services to those with physical assets, 4.8 of the $16 trillion forecast, and securities, roughly 4 of the $16 trillion forecast, that require tokenization.
We believe the next step going forward will be the tokenization of financial assets. And that means every stock, every bond will have its own, basically, CUSIP. It'll be on one general ledger. Every investor, you and I, will have our own number, our own identification. We could rid ourselves of all issues around illicit activities around bonds and stocks and digital by having a tokenization. But the most importantly thing, we can customize strategies through tokenization that fits every individual.
The biggest announcement so far is that over $250 million is coming to Everest custody, tokenizing real RWAs. A multi-billion-dollar international mining conglomerate is placing over $250 million into Everest's custody, and they will be selling roughly $20 million worth of tokens, all leveraging Everest's platform. The roughly $250 million of assets represents 2 lots out of the dozens they own, so they view this as a test to determine how they can do more with them. As a part of the partnership, they purchased 1 million ID tokens at a price of 25 cents per ID from the Foundation for API access and provisioning of their token, using the credit token engine as the foundation behind it. These ID tokens cannot be sold on the open market and must be continuously held for access and functionality. When live, users will be able to swap ETH USDT and other tokens for their token in the Everest widget, and all transactions will use and consume ID tokens. The client shopped the market from multiple players and found Everest's platform and ecosystem the most compelling. There are others in this segment expressing interest in Everest, so we expect a lot more to come. More custody, tokenization, and bridge partnerships. Everest recently signed a partnership to custody and tokenize a utility token. They're taking custody of tens of millions of this partner's tokens, issuing a credit version on Everchain, and allowing users to buy, trade, and sell their tokens more cost effectively, no expensive gas fees, and more easily deal with fiat on-off ramps. The issuer purchased ID tokens for API access and customization of the credit token. Also, all buying, swapping, and sending require ID tokens. Everest has also signed a deal to custody tokens for a bridge. Yes, bridges will be classified as custodians and be forced to get licensed. MiCA CAS licensed with all the associated policies, reporting, etc., or used Everest. It just makes sense. The referral came from the client's legal team. Given the potential transaction volumes, Everest capped the monthly transaction value of ID, so it's more like a monthly SaaS program. ID will be used and consumed. Also in the newsletter, if you were paying attention, it was announced that distribution deals with Tier 1 players have been signed. Everest is currently demonstrating swapping ETH to Apple and their dev environment, and working with regulators and broker-dealers to expand functionality. Everest already has deals signed for distribution of the white-labeled widget with Tier 1 players who reach hundreds of thousands of users, who currently trade billions of dollars of crypto, and again, the functionality of the ID token will highlight identity, KYC AML, SDK buying, swapping, and selling transactions. You can see some of the use cases and how each potentially leverage the ID token here, all on the Foundation website. Everest will continue to update the community as more partnerships transition from NDA to public. Everest also had a successful Shark Tank pitch, which wrapped up with Bob Reed shaking hands with Dino Fino. IJ Sparks delivered community questions to Bob at ETH Denver and got answers to why banks won't accept DIDs or zero-knowledge proof for KYC, how Everest secures user biometrics, what Bob is most excited about for Everest's future, and more. What has you the most excited about Everest's future?
Oh, it's the synergies between real-world assets, and which is tokenizing real estate, minerals, stocks and commodities, and lending against that with literally the existing community. So what I mean by that is, like, we're going to take a whole bunch of assets financial instruments or real estate, tokenize them, make them all available. Which, by the way, in the tokenization world, that's origination, custody, tokenization, primary issuance, and secondary trading. Whole thing. The guys that have Ever wallets and ID tokens probably will get first look at all that.
For a full update, check out the March newsletter. Trust the climb.